Hey everyone, welcome to Keto and Krime and Thought Crime. Just a really special, quick video, kind of ad hoc video for you today. I wasn't expecting to do a video. I was planning to get the next few Daybell books out to you over the upcoming week and next weekend as well. But of course, as many of you know, I lived in Nashville, Tennessee for about 16 years, and I now live just outside Nashville. And on Christmas Day, my city was the victim of a obvious terrorist attack. And I just wanted to kind of go over that, what we know, and what I think of it, because as a Nashville resident, I consider myself a Nashvillian. I have a lot to say about it. I first moved to Nashville in 2002. I have lived in many of the areas that this explosion affected. Many of the neighborhoods that are mentioned in the story I have lived in or very near. And so it really hit home. I lived here during the flood of 2010, where a lot of the city was swept away, and we made it through that. We made it through COVID. We've made it through several tornadoes, and we will make it through this too. So whoever did this, you picked the wrong city. I'm just telling you, we will bounce back. And with that being said, let me jump into the timeline of what actually happened and what we know up to this point. This is a story I will continue to follow because it is definitely something that's near and dear to my heart. So it's not one of those that I will, cover once. This is one that I will keep, just like the Daybell case. This is something I care about, and I will keep you briefed on what we know. So let's dive into it, shall we? It began at approximately 1:30 a.m., between 1:20 and 1:30 a.m. on Friday, December 25th, at the 100 block of 2nd Avenue North. If you've ever been to Nashville, this is a highly touristy area. It's connected to the areas we know as Printer's Alley and the District. It is a whole lot of small businesses down there, shops. There's also a lot of corporate restaurants down there. There's also a lot of apartment buildings uh, along the tops of many of the businesses down there. A lot of the buildings down there were built in the 1800s. So this is a hugely historic district. But a box white Ford Chateau Class C. It has been called a Class B by several people on mainstream media. Incorrect. It is a Class C RV. As a connoisseur of RVs, owning one myself, I know what it is. It's a Class C Ford Chateau Class C RV. Was first seen pulling onto the 160 block of 2nd Avenue North about 1:20 to 1:30 a.m. on Christmas morning. It was caught on several video surveillance, security surveillance cameras. I'll drop a few of those here for you. And then a few hours later, closer to 5 a.m., automatic weapon, or what sounded like automatic weapon gunfire, was heard by several residents, which prompted them to call 911. At the time, the responding officers thought that the vehicle looked suspicious because it is illegal to park an RV on the streets of Nashville. That's been banned for several years now. And just the way it was kind of had the tinted windows and was kind of boxed off lead people to believe that it just looked suspicious. So they had already put a call out to the bomb squad and other, rapid response units to perhaps get en route. And then just after 5:30 a.m., about 5:45, a loudspeaker started automatically operating with a female robotic voice on the RV, saying that this vehicle will explode. If you can hear this, please evacuate. And I'll drop a clip of that here, also caught by several security cameras. And as a result, Nashville police started going door to door. 6 very heroic officers, which I will name and picture here, started going door to door to the occupied apartments and asking people to get out. And it would say 15 minutes and 14 minutes. So this was very definitely a countdown. And this RV was parked at exactly 166 2nd Avenue North in front of the not the AT&T building, not what we Nashvillians call the Batman building. It was parked on one of the streets near there, but it was parked in front of an AT&T data center, which has been linked to both the NSA as well as controlling all of the regions, all the way up into Kentucky, down into Georgia's 911 services, as well as lots of ATM and credit card services, as well as a major hub for anybody that has AT&T internet or cellular service. So this was a major communications hub. It was also right across from the Amazon regional headquarters as well, so it was not known at first who they were targeting, but now we suspect they were probably targeting the AT&T transmission center. But let me drop a picture of those brave police officers and call them off one by one.
Assuming the worst, these 6 officers got to work, evacuating as many people as they could reach.
Was the plan literally just spread out, cover as much ground, knock on as many doors as you can?
As quick as you can, get as many people out as quickly as we could, safely, and get them to somewhere safe, and then provide them with services.
The Rasmussens say the officers didn't explain the threat that ultimately left more than 40 downtown buildings damaged and vehicles in flames. But it
Then at approximately 6:30 a.m., the RV exploded in a flash of light and a huge boom, causing a fireball that was seen from people passing on nearby I-65 north and south, emulating from the district area in what looked like a mini nuclear explosion. And as a result, both the data center and a lot of the surrounding businesses were destroyed. Luckily, no one was killed. There were 3 injuries, all of them fairly minor, though if you can consider being in an explosion a minor situation, but none of them were life-threatening is probably a better way to put it. They were transported to both Centennial Medical Center and Vanderbilt University Medical Center within minutes of the explosion. And as a result, of course, Nashville PD were immediately on the scene, Nashville Fire Department, and then later on in the day, the actual investigation was turned over to the Federal Bureau of Investigation and Bureau of Alcohol, Tobacco, and Firearms. 2nd Avenue North looks like a war zone with debris everywhere. 3 to 4 parked cars were also destroyed, as well as injuries to the very important AT&T data center, as well as to other buildings in the area. As a result, AT&T services have been out as far up as Lexington, Kentucky, as far down as Northwest Georgia. These services out include regular home and business internet, cellular service, and the very important 911 and ATM credit card service have also been out. The thing of it is, since AT&T merged with Bell South several years ago, Bell South was one of the oldest phone utilities in the country, so a lot of the lines and towers and things that we use today were originally a Bell South property, which now makes them an AT&T property. And as a result, other cellular carriers like T-Mobile, Cricket, even some Verizon suffered outages as well, because so much of our telecommunication structure still runs off of old Bell South stuff. So this was a major way to disrupt communication and just generally cause chaos. Later on Christmas Day, as a result of over 500 tips that came in to the Nashville PD, law enforcement had named a person of interest, 63-year-old Anthony Quinn Warner of the 100 block of Bakertown Road in Antioch. Now, Antioch is a very blue-collar, low to lower middle class area of Nashville. I know because I lived there when I first came into Nashville. My first apartment was there. There are good areas and bad areas of Antioch, but this particular area was just a working blue collar area. Neighbors had called in saying that his Ford Chateau Class C RV that had been parked outside of his house for years it was suddenly gone. There was also reports that perhaps Warner was a believer in the whole 5G surveillance, 5G deep state conspiracy theory. There are no proof of that. That is just what neighbors interviewed by the media have said. And as a result, the ATF and FBI have extensively searched his property And I have actually looked at both the surveillance camera of the RV that exploded that was caught about 1:30 a.m. on Christmas Day, as well as the pictures of his RV in the back of his house, which I'll drop that here. I can't tell. It's definitely a Class C RV. It's definitely the same shape, but because of the yellowish tint to the security camera, I can't really tell a whole lot of detail about it. So I reserve judgment on Mr. Warner until we know more. But that is just what lots of people are saying. And of course, a lot of conspiracy theories now coming out to what exactly was the target. Was it Amazon? Was it the AT&T data center? I think now we know that it probably was the data center because that was the way to cause a whole lot of chaos. Also, the recording of telling people to evacuate could either be a warning because they didn't want to hurt people or to draw people closer in to kill more. That is also a pretty prominent terrorist tactic. So who knows what their actual um, purpose was for that. Also, it could have just been to lure first responders in because that was actually a gimmick used by even the Columbine shooters. Part of their plan was to lure first responders in and then kill more people. So who knows what the actual purpose of that was. So when people say they didn't want to hurt people, don't say that. It could have very easily been just a tactic to lure more people in. So who knows? There's now rumors that perhaps some of the Dominion voting machines were possibly going to be audited in that building, and that could be the reason. He's been called a 5G conspiracy theorist. He's been called a Trumper. He's been called this. He's been called that. But on the flip side, there are also other groups that are now starting to online take credit for this, and some Antifa groups. I think some Muslim radical groups as well. So bottom line, we don't know a whole lot right now. We only know that a lot of damage was done. AT&T has got mobile hotspots up all over the city. They have worked very hard, and all AT&T services should be restored by this evening, Sunday, December 27th. That's what we know. They know that they tried to take out a huge part of my city. I used to live in that area. I lived maybe 2 miles from that very place. My house, the house that I owned for several years in Nashville, was not far from there. So I would have definitely felt that shake had I still lived there. So this is near and dear to my heart. I hope they catch whoever this is. Whoever this is evil and it probably has some mental illness that we need to get them help for. But they also need to be punished because you don't do this. There are ways to, air your grievances that don't involve this kind. Because, okay, nobody was killed in the explosion, but how many people might have been compromised because 911 services were down? Because people had to call their local police and fire department numbers to get help. How many people were compromised? Yeah, this is not something you do. If you have a beef with the government, you need to air that out in a proper way. As a libertarian, I fully support people's ability to own protection and own firearms, but when you start to use it like this, you make our case for preserving the Second Amendment that much harder. So stop it. I'm not going to get into a whole lot of conspiracy theories because I don't know. I will be following this case very closely as information comes in, and I will report back to you as soon as I know more. But until then, this was just a very impromptu video. I'm going to go back to my Christmas holiday now. I will have the last two Jad Daybell books out for you this week into next weekend, and we'll be back on our regular schedule for 2021. As always, I love all of my subscribers, all of my patrons, all of my channel members. Couldn't do this without you. And from my heart to yours, a very happy holiday season. And as you know, I'm not a religious person, but send good thoughts Nashville way. If you are a religious person, send up a prayer because we're gonna come through this. Nashville strong. And until next time, Keto and Krime.